Hi guys, Jared here with Day Traders FX. I hope you guys all had a wonderful weekend and got a little bit of rest and relaxation. I hope you're ready to get back into the markets as well. We have some interesting stuff going on, so let's get right to it. First of all, you can see that it's been a pretty traumatic day for most of the markets. Dow's down a good chunk, S&P down 15, oil's taking a pretty big hit. Gold's down just a little bit, but definitely not as much as all the counterparts. We've seen some additional bad news out of Europe. Basically, we've also seen that Germany and the IMF have pretty much written off Greece. It sounds like there's no more aid coming, and they're going to have to either figure things out or Greece is going to just exit the euro and the European Union. And it looks like that might be the landscape for the short term. So we'll see how that kind of plays out. But on top of things, Spain is looking pretty bad. There's been some bad news out of Spain, and they got pretty hammered over the Open in Madrid and so on. So, just a little update on that. As far as news this week, we don't have a ton of news. We have a little bit of a light calendar for the economic calendar here this week. We have some GDP numbers finishing up the week for the U.S. Then you can see we've just got a couple of kind of Euro, a little bit of Canadian news. Wednesday we get into some new home sales and so on. We don't have anything too kind of shocking, too big this week, so it should give the markets a chance to just kind of move naturally and normally, and that'll be that'll be good. Okay, so looking at the euro today, the euro dollar, we talked a little bit about some of these movements in our UK session and just kind of opted to stay out of the market. It was pretty choppy. We did get some nice little runs up and down and so on, but overall pretty choppy. We just decided to kind of stay out of this and wait for things to continue to move. And set up, and so far it looks like we might get a good chance to trade the gap and fill the gap here on the euro dollar. You can see that the market opened and gap down, about 25 or 30 pips or so, and it's kind of started to consolidate below this 121.30 area. So I think if we get a break or an open above this 121.30, we should get a little run back up into about that 121.65, which was such a strong level for so many days, about 10 days or so. And then we finally kind of broke it on Monday, or excuse me, on Friday, and then on Sunday, the open on Sunday gap down. But I'm just looking to see if we can kind of fill this space in right here and get back up to this 121.65 and even possibly a little bit beyond. We've got some good opportunities to kind of trade that space there, so we're going to be watching for that. Likewise, we're going to be watching for the bigger picture in the channel here. We can see that on the daily chart, the euro is far from oversold on the daily chart. In fact, it consolidated quite a bit, and it's now just below the third daily fib and just above the fourth daily fib. So really, before it gets oversold, it's got to run probably another 100 to 150 pips before we start getting too concerned about anything down there. So there's really lots of room to go, but that doesn't mean that there's not going to be some retracement. This is kind of our most recent channel on the euro dollar, and it's just, as you can see, actually a little bit more towards the upper part of the channel. It came down to about the middle here in the lows of the last couple of hours, and now it's back up to the top part of that, or excuse me, to the upper part of the channel. So if we get a break once again above about that 121.30, that could take us up into, like I said, 121.65, and even as high as the top of this channel, which would be around 12200. But not really expecting that. Just looking for kind of a small move there. And then we will look at how to get short on this pair. Definitely around 12200, I'm pretty interested in getting short again. But we'll be exploring some of those opportunities, and I'll be sending out some details on Twitter. But for right now, just kind of looking for that break to the upside. So we'll keep our eye on that. Pound dollar is looking kind of interesting. In fact, I think we may get a little short-term opportunity on this pound dollar coming up sooner than later. You can see that it's getting pretty choppy. It's getting pretty summered out here, and hasn't really had much direction in the last basically almost 2 full months. And so as it kind of continues to bounce around in here, it's going to get pretty tricky and pretty ugly, and I'm not really going to try to do too many long-term moves until we make either a break of this 157.25 and actually get a candle opening above that high up there, which is now a pretty good distance away, about 200 pips away, or if we get back down here below about 154.25. So, and that's about 100 pips away. Anything in the middle is going to be very, very short term, and so one thing that I'm looking at and looking for potentially is this little area right here. We see that this short-term trend line, this is on the 15-minute chart, is starting to break, and I think we might have a little bit of opportunity to trade some retracement on this one and get us up through some of these levels here. So we're going to be watching for that, and I don't have a specific entry I want to get on this pound dollar just yet, but we'll be keeping an eye on this and looking for some possible buy opportunities to pick up some of this retracement. Okay, and then quickly on here to the euro yen. What we have happening here is we've got a pretty nice little setup where it's also kind of in the middle of this channel. And if we go to the 4-hour chart, you can see that this channel right here is just kind of over the last couple of weeks. It's a little choppy. It's just kind of bouncing around through this area, but it is making some progress to the downside. So what I'm looking for on the euro yen is, as you can see how I've marked this on the charts, is looking to, number one, fill the gap. We've got this gap right here, and we want to fill that. And that's the top of that's about 95, 15, 20, somewhere in there. And I'm looking to trade this up to about 9,600. So if we can trade this up to 9,600, then I will definitely be looking to get short right there and kind of riding this pair down for the long haul from about 9,600. So that's obviously about 80 or 90 pips away right in there. It's got a little bit of a distance to go, but I think that's going to be a good little area. And once again, just watch this little double top right here, which is about 95.15. Break of that should push this pair a bit higher. So we're going to keep our eye on that. And likewise, track this this ascending trend line as the market is kind of bouncing up this area. Keep an eye on that, and let's just kind of look for any breaks that may potentially happen there. And kind of see where things go. So let's keep our eyes out there. We've got some nice little setups in the works on that one. Pound yen's moving. The Aussie dollar's looking pretty interesting as well. If we look at the larger picture here, this daily chart is looking pretty channeled and a very nice little channel moving up. You can see that the bottom of that channel currently is about 102.40.50 area, which is also the 100-day moving average. If we get a breakthrough on that one, it could really open it up for some big downside movement. But for the moment, I'm kind of looking at a little bit more of a bounce and maybe a continuation back up. So we're going to be keeping our eye on that one. Remember that above about 10300, that's strong resistance. Once again, that's only about 30 pips away. So we're going to keep our eye on that. And we're going to keep our eye on this lower part here as well, which is around the 102.40.50 area. So we break that, and I'm looking for much more continuation down below 102, 40-ish. So we'll watch for that. And then last but not least, we have gold right here that's kind of breaking out of a bigger wedge. And will hopefully give us a little bit of movement. But let's keep our eye on this. 1600 still a very strong resistance, and the 1550s have been very, very good support lately. So let's just kind of watch that area. The markets are a little choppy, and I'll be sending out some more details on Twitter and posting more trade entries in the chat as the day goes on. But I think we may have something coming up on the euro dollar in filling this gap above 121.30, and in the pound dollar in kind of trading some of this retracement back to the upside. So I'll keep you guys posted on the details. Best of luck, and I'll see you all in the chat. Thanks, everyone.